Right, well, first game of the season has just finished. Well, not just finished, finished a couple of days ago actually. And we have a lot to talk about. My name is Stephen Dawes, this is Palace to the Core. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest news, views and reviews from the world of Crystal Palace. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget that I do talk about the game in depth, including the goals. So if you haven't seen the game yet, do go away, watch the game or listen to it, however you want to do that, and then come back and listen to what I've got to say about it. This is the second time I've done this video. I did the video, edited it, got it all done, and then I accidentally deleted it before I uploaded it to YouTube. So this is round 2 for me. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the teams. And it was quite actually probably a team very similar to what we had last season, apart from a couple of changes. It was Henderson in goal. Then we had Richards, Anderson and Gahey at the back. Then we had Munoz, Wharton, Hughes and Mitchell just ahead of those. Ahead of those, Eze and Kamada. And then JP up front. I was expecting Doucouré or something to go in there. But then I realised he's probably not completely fit yet. He probably needs a bit of time to get up to full fitness. So that's probably why he wasn't in from the beginning. And I was quite pleased that Ivan Toney was going to be playing for Brentford as well, because I thought that's a good sign for us that, you know, obviously he's a good player, he scores loads of goals, he's a big threat for them, so not to have him in the team, I thought that was a good sign as well. So into the first half, and for the first 5 minutes or so, Brentford were really on the front foot. They had us pinned back for a little while, and they were really trying to get I think they were trying to get an early goal, and they put us on the back foot. We took a little bit of a time to get ourselves set, get our foot on the ball and then start playing. But once we did that, I felt that we had a fair bit of possession in the first half. I felt that we were knocking the ball around okay. I think we were a little bit rusty, but I think, you know, the passes weren't too bad. Some of the movement was really good, some of the one-touch passing was really good. And we had a couple of chances as well. I mean, Eze had a free kick, went just past the post. Had a couple of other players who took shots at goal. I mean, you know, Adam Wharton had a couple of shots at least in the game that was stopped by the keeper. So I think that we were doing okay. And as the game went on, I felt that one of the problems we were having was at the back, because obviously we were going forward to try and get the goal, and obviously we do flood the box these days. We put loads of players in the box when the ball is about to come in. However, when the ball was then lost by us, Brentford, who have got pretty fast players in their team, were actually getting back quite quickly. And although we were managing to get back and cover quite well, we were a little bit disjointed, a little bit uneasy, unsettled at the back. So it led to a few little near misses from us, although there wasn't really any clear-cut chances on Henderson's goal. Until the goal. Anyway, but we were having a good possession of the ball. Brentford were breaking quite well, and then it happened that we just kind of went off a little bit. We weren't quite set properly, as I said before, and Brentford were able to get the goal. And I think that we probably could have closed him down a little bit quicker than we did. And I think that Henderson was maybe a bit unsighted by a couple of our players, but he took the shot across, and Henderson kind of almost went to get a hand from it and then almost kind of put his hand down. I don't know how anyway, I think he was a little bit unsighted, and it ended up in a goal. So that was a bit disappointing for us. But I think that we, you know, up until that point, I thought that we were going to be all right. I thought, you know, we got a goal in this game. I really did think that we were going to have a goal, because we were creating enough chances, I felt. Then we had quite a, well, I'm sure you've heard about it anyway. We had one of the biggest controversies of the game, and that was a free kick that we got out on the right hand side, and it was Eze and Wharton were up on that right hand side near the touchline, and most of the other players were in and around the box. So it looked at that point as though Brentford hadn't put anyone close to the ball or close to Eze, and Eze I think realised that quite early on as well. Wharton came back into the centre, and Eze just took a shot. It wasn't an indirect free kick; it was a direct free kick. So he just took a shot and he went in, and it was absolutely amazing goal. It was really top-notch goal, absolutely fantastic shot, and we all thought it was a goal. However, the referee had blown his whistle because he saw what he thought was an infringement in the middle. I think he thought he saw an infringement on Hughes. However, that wasn't the case, because when you look at the replay, Hughes was being Hughes was bundled into by the Brentford player, and the Brentford player went down because he bundled into Hughes. Hughes didn't do anything. It was just jostling in the box. So the goal wasn't allowed because of that, and because the ball hadn't gone in the back of the net when the referee blew the whistle, VAR could then not take action by looking at it again. So, which is a moot point for me. I mean, at the end of the day, if VAR is going to be successful, it's got to have the ability to overturn these decisions. It's got to have the authority to say, actually, that was wrong, and you've got to look at it. If they're not going to be there for that, what are they there for, to be honest? But that's just my little rant over. Anyway, so that goal was disallowed, which was a big shame. However, a bit later on, when they interviewed Eze, he did say the referee came up to him and said, it was my fault, I did make a mistake, I blew too soon. So, he held his hand up and he admitted to it, but obviously it still didn't make it a goal, but there you are. So that was that, and then the first half went off with us being 1-0 down, and second half we came out and we were pretty much the same. Mateto had been swapped for Edouard, and there was a little bit of concern amongst Palace players, Palace fans even, that he was injured, but apparently, according to Oliver Glasner, it was just because he's had such a busy summer. He's played right up until the last couple of weeks ago. He came back to Palace very recently, so he just wanted to give him a bit of a rest. He played him from the beginning because of his form and because of his scoring so many goals, but he says he thinks he looked a little bit off the pace, so he decided to change him at half time, which is fair enough. I can understand that. So that was the change at half time. Second half, again, pretty much the same. We were having some good possession. They were trying to get us on the counter again. As I said, Wharton had a couple of really good shots. He's gonna end up scoring a worldie very, very soon. I really do. He was taking more shots in the second half than the first half, and he was making the keeper work. The keeper had to make a couple of good saves. I mean, decent saves for a keeper, but he still had to make the saves to stop them going in. And again, it was just pretty much more of the same. We were trying to get forward, trying to make things happen. We were trying to break them down, trying to harry them quite quickly. But one of the things they were doing was passing very quickly and getting around our high press. So that was one of the problems that we were facing, I think. And then, of course, because we were a little bit rusty and disjointed, not quite up on our game yet, we didn't really quite get back quick enough sometimes to actually deal with it effectively. We dealt with it, but not quite as well as we should have done. And that was just the story of the game, really. We were just a bit rusty, a little bit out of sorts. But as Oliver Glasner said in the pre-conference, everyone's at a different level at the moment. No one's at the level they need to be. So it's going to take a game or two, I think, before we can see the actual proper Crystal Palace that Oliver Glasner wants us to play like. However, late on in that second half, they unfortunately managed to score. Before that, we managed to get an own goal. Well, they managed to get an own goal. The ball was played in, and unfortunately, as it came across the box, one of the Brentford players kicked it into the back of his own net, which is a shame. But it was, I think, deserved, because I think it should have been 1-1 anyway. So I think it was we pressed really hard. I think we deserved the goal. But unfortunately, later on in the game, they got the second one, which kind of just kicked us in the teeth a little bit at that point, although we did continue to try and fight. And to give Oliver Glasner credit, we did work hard, and he brought new players on. He brought Decore on, and he brought Sarr on. He was trying to get players to come in. He was changing formation. I think he changed to a 4-4-2 at one point. He was, doing his best to try and get a goal. So he wasn't just sitting there and not doing anything. So I think that's to his credit. But unfortunately, we just didn't have enough. We didn't convert the chances that we had to get another goal, which was a big shame, because I think that we probably deserved a draw on that game. But that's unfortunately how it is. In terms of individuals, I think they all played quite well. I think Eze had a pretty good game. I think he is better with Elise there. He likes to bounce off Elise and vice versa, but obviously Elise isn't all there now. But I think he did play well. He had a few little flicks here and there, a couple of nice little dribbles to try and get past players. I think Anderson, his passing wasn't quite there. I think he was a little bit off the pace. But then he's been a little bit like that in pre-season. He made a few mistakes in pre-season. I don't know whether he's tired or what's happening, but he's not quite where I think he should be. But as I said, it's early days in the season so far. there was a bit of stick for Kamada. A lot of people said that he isn't good enough, and that he had a bad game and things like that. To be fair, it's his first competitive game for Crystal Palace in the Premier League. He's obviously getting used to the way the team plays. I know he knows how Oliver Glasner wants to play, but he's still got to get used to his teammates and where his teammates are going to be. I think he's probably not up to full fitness yet in terms of the fitness level that Oliver Glasner wants him to be at. So I think we need to give him a few games. We need to give him some time to bed in. I think we're going to see more from him in the future. I think he's going to make a difference. I mean, he's not a replacement for Michael Olise. He's never going to be. But I think he's going to bring his own thing to the team at some point in the future. So I think we should give him a little bit of time. And pretty much that's it. I think that was the game in a nutshell. I think it was a decent game. I think it's a game that on any other day we would have drawn. But we go on now into the next game, which is the first home game of the season. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this game. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you thought stood out. What were the issues that you thought you saw in the game if you were there, or if you watched it on the television. And I will see you in the next one.